Hey everybody, welcome back to the Deep Dive. You're here to learn something cool and you don't have all day. So we're going to jump right into it. We're talking EON reality today. Specifically, their new technical documentation about their mission-based EON Creative Simulator.
Yeah, it's dense.
It is, but it's also super fascinating. I mean, we talk a lot about how XR is transforming learning, especially in design. But this documentation, this goes beyond just the potential. This gets into the nuts and bolts of the technology that's driving these really incredible immersive experiences.
Right, and it's not just theory. It's like they're giving us a peek behind the curtain, showing us how they're actually building these simulations.
Exactly. And our mission today is to sort of sift through all of this technical detail and pull out the key insights that can help us understand how EON reality is approaching this challenge of creating truly immersive design learning.
All right, let's get into it.
Okay, so right off the bat, they talk about this thing called the Annotation Prioritization Framework.
Right.
And at first, it sounds pretty, technical. But when you really dig into it, it's all about making sure that the learner, you're not overwhelmed by all the visual information.
That's exactly it. It's like, imagine you're looking at a 3D model of something really complex, a car engine, or maybe a piece of industrial machinery. There's just so much to see, right?
Yeah, tons of parts, all these little details.
And it can be hard to know where to focus. So this annotation prioritization framework, it's like a filter. It analyzes the visual field and picks out the most important elements based on what you're supposed to be learning at that moment.
So it's like it's highlighting the key takeaways visually.
Precisely. It could be a specific part of a 3D model or maybe a particular point of interest in a 360-degree environment. It could even be a call out to some text in a knowledge portal.
But it's all about cutting through the clutter and making sure that your attention is directed to exactly what you need to know.
Right, and that's essential for efficient learning. It's reducing cognitive overload so you can actually absorb the information effectively.
I love that, cutting through the clutter. And they don't stop there. There's also this whole system for how your avatar moves and interacts within the learning environment. They call it the avatar action system.
Right.
So what's the deal with that? How does your virtual self play a role in the learning process?
Well, it's more than just a representation of you in the virtual world. It's actually used to guide your attention and make sure you're having the right kind of experience. They use this thing called path-based navigation, so your avatar might move along a predetermined path that takes you to all the key points of interest.
Oh, that's interesting.
And it's not just about movement. Your avatar can actually point to things.
Oh, wow.
So it's like having a guide right there with you saying, hey, look at this. And the system can even adjust your orientation, make sure you're looking at things from the right angle or the right perspective.
That's pretty cool. So it's like they're choreographing the whole experience.
Exactly. And all these little things add up to create a much more directed and focused learning experience.
Yeah, it's not just about throwing you into a virtual world and saying, go figure it out.
Yeah.
They're actually thinking about how to guide you through it effectively.
Now, another thing that really stood out to me was their attention to detail when it comes to audio.
Oh, yeah, the audio is huge.
They call it the audio integration architecture, and it's basically this 3-layered approach to sound design.
Okay, break that down for me.
So the first layer is speech synthesis. That's pretty straightforward. It's like the narration, the instructions, any kind of voiceover elements.
Right. Makes sense.
The second layer is ambient audio. So that's the background sounds that really set the scene and make the environment feel immersive. Like if you're in a virtual factory, you might hear the hum of machinery in the background.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it really adds to the realism. And then the third layer is interaction sounds. So little sound effects that play when you interact with objects in the simulation. Like if you click on a button, you might hear a click sound.
Right. Those little details that make it feel real.
Exactly. And all 3 layers work together to create a truly immersive and engaging audio experience.
And that's so important for learning, right?
Yeah.
Because it helps you stay focused and engaged.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about how the learning process actually unfolds within the simulator. They have this system called narrative progression mechanics.
Okay.
And it's built on this concept of a state machine architecture. So basically, the learning mission is broken down into a series of distinct stages or states. And the system moves you through these stages based on your actions and your progress.
So it's not just a linear experience. It can branch out and adapt.
Right. They use conditional branching, which means the path you take through the mission can change based on what you do, how well you're understanding the material, even the mistakes you make.
Oh, that's really interesting.
And the environment itself can change, too. Like, once you've mastered a certain concept, maybe a new layer of complexity is added to the simulation. And the system also provides feedback along the way, acknowledging your progress and keeping you motivated.
So it's like having a personalized learning experience that adjusts to your individual needs.
Precisely. Now, all of this sounds amazing, but it also sounds potentially complex to create, right?
Yes, for sure.
But EON Reality has really thought about that too. They use this thing called JSON-based mission definition.
Okay, what is JSON?
It's a data format. It's really simple and easy for computers to understand. And they've basically created these JSON-based templates that provide a structured way to define and create these learning missions.
So it's like a blueprint for building these immersive experiences.
Exactly. And that makes the development process much more streamlined and efficient. It means educators and instructional designers don't need to be coding experts to create these simulations. They can just use these templates and fill in the blanks with their own content.
That's really smart. It makes it much more accessible.
Right. And speaking of accessibility, another crucial aspect of this technology is performance optimization.
Oh yeah, that's huge, especially when you're talking about immersive experiences. You don't want any lag or stuttering. That would totally ruin the immersion.
Right. And the documentation goes into great detail about the different optimization techniques they use. Things like LED management, asset streaming, draw call batching, shader complexity reduction. All these fancy terms basically boil down to making sure that the simulation runs smoothly and efficiently on a wide range of hardware.
Okay, so they're making sure it works well on everything from high-end VR setups to more standard computers.
Exactly. They don't want anyone to be excluded from these learning experiences because of their hardware limitations.
Yeah. That's a really important consideration. Now, to tie all of this together, the documentation lays out a 7-phase content creation workflow.
Yeah.
What can we learn from that about their overall approach to implementing this technology?
Well, it shows that they're not just throwing this technology out there and saying, good luck. They're actually providing a very structured and systematic way to create these learning experiences.
So what are the phases?
It starts with defining the learning objectives. What do you want the learners to actually learn? Then you move on to scenario design, asset creation, interaction development, testing, and finally, deployment.
Okay, so it's a step-by-step roadmap to guide you through the whole process.
Right. And it's designed to ensure that the final product is high quality and effective.
That's really helpful. Now, what about integrating this with existing learning management systems? A lot of institutions already have these systems in place.
Absolutely. And EON Reality has thought about that too. They have LMS integration protocols that support industry standards like SCORM and XAPI.
Okay, so it can talk to the systems that schools and companies are already using.
Right. That means you can track learner progress, get grades back into your LMS, and even pull in analytics data from the simulator.
So it's not a standalone system. It can actually integrate with the existing infrastructure.
Exactly. That's really important for widespread adoption. Now, finally, the documentation also includes a whole bunch of appendices that are packed with really useful resources.
Like?
Well, they have JSON structure templates, so those are actual examples that you can use as a starting point for creating your own missions. And they have prompt crafting guidelines, which provide advice on how to write effective instructions and feedback within the simulations. There's even a detailed avatar movement and sound reference guide so you can see all the different actions and sound cues that are available.
Oh, wow, that's really thorough.
And my favorite is the mission development worksheet. It's like a step-by-step planning template that walks you through the entire mission development process.
So they're really giving you all the tools you need to get started.
Right. They're making it as easy as possible for institutions to adopt and utilize this technology.
So after taking this deep dive into all this technical detail, what's your overall impression?
I'm really impressed. It's clear that EON Reality has put a lot of thought and effort into not just creating immersive learning experiences, but also making sure that they're performant, scalable, easy to develop, and seamlessly integrated with existing systems. It's really a comprehensive approach.
And I think the key takeaway for me is that all these technical features, they're not just bells and whistles. They're all carefully designed to support effective learning.
Right. It's all about creating a truly engaging and impactful learning experience.
It makes you wonder what other field of education could benefit from this kind of approach.
Yeah, I think the potential is huge.
If you're interested in learning more about EON and Reality and their work, you can check out their podcast and their EON XR spoken blog. They're doing some really fascinating stuff. And that's it for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.